Good day, sir, and to our fellow classmates. We are the Group 5 and we will be presenting to you Chapter 7 entitled Paris Patungong Berlin, or in English, Paris to Berlin. I am Maria Josephine L. Aquino, and I will be your first presenter discussing the subtopic In Gay Paris or Sumasayang Paris. Rizal, at the age of 24 and after finishing his studies in Central University of Madrid, went to Paris with the purpose of acquiring more knowledge in ophthalmology. So a quick background story kaya niya gustong mag-aral ng ophthalmology is because his mother's eyes, si Teodora Alonso Realonda, had cataracts. So this cataract is a clouding of the normally clear lens of the eye. Para kang nakatingin sa isang fog na window. So opaque siya. And that is the very main reason kaya gustong mag-aral ng ophthalmology ni Rizal. So along his way to Paris, Rizal made a stop at Barcelona, particularly at the house of Maximo Viola. So who is Maximo Viola? Viola is the best friend of Jose Rizal. He is also a medical student and a member of the rich family of San Miguel. In his one-week stay, he met Senior Eusebio Corominas, the editor of La Publicidad newspaper, and Don Moraita, a statesman and the owner of La Publicidad. Rizal also made a crayon sketch of him. And additionally, Rizal also helped editor Coromines by giving him an article on Caroline's question. Um, Caroline's question is a conflict between German Empire and Spain sa kung sino ang magkakaroon ng authority sa Caroline Islands and Palau. Um, Rizal also gave him a controversial issue for publication. By November 1885, Rizal lived in Paris and stayed for 4 months. There he worked for Dr. Louis de Wecker as an assistant. Dr. Wecker is a leading French ophthalmologist, and Rizal worked for him from November 1885 to February 1886. The picture that you see here, the left side, this is Dr. Wecker, and on the right side, this is Dr. Wecker with his assistants. By that time, he has increased his knowledge of ophthalmology, which is evident in his letter to his parents on January 1, 1886. It states that, with respect to the study of the ailments of the eyes, I am doing well. I know now how to perform all the operations. I only need to know what is going on inside the eye, which requires much practice. Aside from working as an assistant, Rizal also relaxes by visiting his friends, the Pardo de Taveras family, especially Trinidad, Felix and Paz, and also Juan Luna and Felix Resurrection Hidalgo. Paz Pardo de Tavera was engaged to Juan Luna. On her album, Rizal drew sketches on the story of the monkey and the turtle. As you can see here, this is a sample of Rizal's drawing of the monkey and the turtle story. Additionally, knowing Luna, who was the great master of the brush, Rizal would discuss with him various problems on art and how he would improve his own painting technique. He also helped Luna by posing as a model in his paintings, The Death of Cleopatra, as you can see here in the left side. He posed as an Egyptian priest, and on the right side, The Blood Compact as si Katuna. So that is all for our topic in Gay Paris. Now we move on to our next presenter.
Magandang araw, ako si Domingo Junior Bohating at ang aking presentasyon ay tungkol kay Rizal as musician. Um, Hindi lingid sa kalaman ng karamihan Bukod sa magaling at um, bukod tangi si Rizal sa iba't ibang fields o disiplina gaya ng agham, medisina, literatura at sining, eh mayroon din siyang inclination o interes sa musika. At ang musika, alam naman natin ay mayroong importanteng bahagi sa buhay ng mga Pilipino hanggang ngayon. It played an important role in all Filipino reunions sa Paris sa panahon ni Rizal, especially in tavernas, home, at sa Luna Studio. At ang mga kasamahan o contemporary ni Rizal ay kayang either tumugtog ng ng instrumento o kumanta. Ngunit si Rizal ay walang natural na kakayahan o katangian sa musika. Kaya ah, nag-aral siya ng musika sapagkat ang mga ka-schoolmate niya or schoolmate niya sa Ateneo ay nag-aaral ng musika. Makikita natin dito sa larawan ay si Rizal kasama ang mga kaklase niya sa iba't ibang larangan, specifically sa musika. Sabi ng grand niece o apo sa tuhod ni Rizal na si Mrs. Asuncion Bantog na among the arts, music was Rizal's first love. Ngunit sabi ko nga kanina, wala siyang natural na kakayahan sa musika. Sabi ni Dr. Galicana Apasible, Rizal even found it hard to hum or whistle a simple note or a simple melody. Whenever he did it, the melody turned out to be so out of tune. Sa isang liham na sinulat niya kay Enrique Lete noong Nobyembre 27, 1878, inaral ni Rizal ang solfeggio, ang piano, at voice culture in less than a month. Ang solfeggio ay ang ginagamit upang i-representa ang mga nota sa iskala gamit ang mga syllable. At usually, ang average na tao ay inaabot ng 6 na buwan bago matutunan ito. Ang piano naman, usually 3 hanggang 5 taon bago matutunan. At ang voice culture naman ang ginagamit upang i-train ang boses ng at gamitin ito na sa maayos na paraan. Sabi pa nga ni Rizal, kung maririnig niya lamang ang boses niya, eh baka hilingin niyo na lamang na nasa Spanish kayo. Dahil ang boses niya ay parang huni o iyak ng mga asno. Ngunit sa determinasyon at pag-e-ensayo ni Rizal ay natuto siyang tumugtog ng flauta, ngunit hindi siya gaanong kagaling doon sa instrumentong iyon. At naging flautist siya sa iba't ibang impromptu Filipino reunion sa Paris. At nagsulat din siya ng iba't ibang komposisyon, gaya ng Alinmang Lahi o Any Race, La Deportation o Deportation, Leonor at Kundi Mo ni Rizal. Pati sa mga sinulat niyang No Limit Tangere at El Filibusterismo, merong mga kabanata doon na merong musical passages o kanta. Ito yung ang Alinmang Lahi ay isang patriotic song that asserts that any race aspires for freedom. Ito yung mula sa UP Vocal, ito ang snippet ng kanyang composition. At ang sunod naman ay ang La Deportacion o Deportation. It is a sad danza na kinompose ni Rizal noong July 1892 sa Dapitan during his exile. Yun lamang po at maraming salamat.
So, hi, good day. So, my name is Rovic G. De Guzman, and I'm here to report Chapter 7, Paris to Berlin, 1885 to 1887, Rizal in historic Heidelberg. So, this part discusses Rizal's experience in the place of Heidelberg, Germany. So, let's start. So, nabanggit naman dun sa part ng Rizal in Gay Paris. So, si Rizal, pumunta siya doon para mag-gain ng experience as an ophthalmologist in Dr. Weckert's clinic. So, after niya makagain ng enough knowledge and experience, so Dr. Jose Rizal reluctantly left Gay Paris for Germany in February 1, 1886. So, doon sa journey niya na yun, papuntang Germany, he visited Strasbourg. So, Strasbourg is the capital of Alsace-Lorraine. So, bukod doon sa Strasbourg, bumisita rin si Rizal sa ibang German border towns. So, with a span of 2 days, so Dr. Jose Rizal arrived in Heidelberg. So, from February 1, 1886, then naka-arrive siya ng February 3, 1886 sa place ng Heidelberg. So, ano nga ba yung Heidelberg? So, alamin natin. So, Heidelberg is a historic city in Germany famous for its old university and so romantic surroundings. So, yung picture na yan, um, isa siyang lugar sa Heidelberg which is very romantic. So, Nick, I think, hindi, mababanggit siya sa last part. So, isa siyang river. So, isa siya sa mga binisitahan ni Dr. Jose Rizal. So, next. So, ayun. So, nung pagka-arrive niya sa Heidelberg, so si Rizal, for a short time, he lived in a boarding house with some German law students. So, naging popular si Dr. Jose Rizal among the German law students because they found out that he was a good player in chess. So, ayun. So, nung napansin nga na may skills si Dr. Jose Rizal sa paglalaro ng chess, ginawa ng mga German law students, ginawa siyang member ng Chess Players Club. So, bukod sa paglalaro ng chess, Rizal joined them in their chess games and beer drinking and watched their friendly saber duels. So, yun know, di lang pala chess games ang ginagawa ni Dr. Rizal as pag-entertain. So, sinamahan niya rin yung ibang kaibigan niya mag-beer drinking and mag-watch ng friendly saber duels. Next. After a few days, Rizal transferred to a boarding house near the University of Heidelberg. He worked at the University of Eye Hospital under the direction of Dr. Otto Becker and attended the lectures of Dr. Becker and Prof. Wilhelm Kuhne at the university. So yan makalipas ilang araw, lumipat si Rizal na ibang boarding house para mag-aral at magtrabaho. So, ayun, umattend siya ng lectures ni Dr. Becker and Prof. Wilhelm Kuhne. So, sino nga ba si Dr. Becker and Prof. Wilhelm Kuhne? So, based on aking research, so Dr. Otto Heinrich Enoch Becker So he was a distinguished German ophthalmologist and the author of numerous writings on the eye. So ayan o, si Dr. Otto Heinrich Enoch Becker, isa rin siyang ophthalmologist gaya ni Dr. Rizal. So umattend siya ng kanyang lectures para siguro mag-gain ng knowledge about ophthalmology. The next, Professor Wilhelm Kuhne. He was a German physiologist and he is best known today for coining the word enzyme in 1878. So ayun, yun yung description na lang dalawa. So bukod doon sa pag-attend ng lectures at pagtatrabaho, so during weekends, Rizal visited the scenic spot around Heidelberg, including the famous Heidelberg Castle. So makikita mo yun sa upper right. Ayun yung picture ng famous Heidelberg Castle before, kasi sinerge ko vintage. Then the romantic Neckar River. So ayun, nasa lower right. So kagaya nung picture na nilagay ko nung una sa description ng Heidelberg, ayun yung Neckar River. So isa siyang romantic place sa Heidelberg. Then aside from those, so the theater and all churches. So ayun yung mga ginagawa ni Sal during weekends, binibisita niya yung scenic spot around Heidelberg. Then during Rizal's visit during weekends, so he noticed that the German Catholics and Protestants practiced ecumenism, for they lived together in harmony and cordiality. So one of the town churches was used one half by the Catholics and the other half by the Protestants. So yun, napansin nga daw ni Rizal, yung German Catholics and the Protestants nagpa-practice ng unity or ecumenism para daw mamuhay sila ng magkakasama na may harmony. So para maayos yung pamumuhay nila. So yun. So that's all lang sa life ni Rizal in the place of Heidelberg.
Hi, ako si Kellen M. Franco and nais ko lamang magbigay ng kakaunting eksplanasyon tungkol sa topic na binigay sa amin na Paris to Berlin. Kami ay Group 5 at ang naibigay sa akin na topic ay si Pastor Ulmer at ang Wilhelmsfield. So, si Rizal ay umalis ng Paris papuntang Germany or sa bulubunduking bayan malapit sa Heidelberg. Kaya siya umalis ng Paris dahil masyadong mataas ang cost of living. So hindi niya kaya sabayan kaya siya umalis doon. Kakatapos niya lang kasing mag-training under Dr. Louis D. Wecker sa ophthalmology, also doktor sa mata. Tapos nagbakasyon siya ng 3 buwan si Rizal sa Wilhelmsfield sa malapit na bayan sa Heidelberg at tumira siya sa kaibigan niyang isang mabuting protestanteng si Pastor Dr. Karl Ulmer na naging mabuti niyang kaibigan at tagahanga. Si Rizal kasi kilala na naman natin siya bilang ating pambansang bayani. Tapos nakalaan na din doon at alam na rin natin na mahusay talaga si Rizal at talentadong tao. Kaya ang may bahay ni Ulmer ay lumapit ang puso kay Rizal at parang bilib na bilib siya kay Rizal. Tapos ipinakilala niya dito ang kanilang anak nila Dr. Karl Ulmer at ang kanyang may bahay na si ang anak nila ay si Eta, ang anak na babae, at si Fritz. Ayon kay Rizal, masaya ang kanyang pagbabakasyon sa Heidelberg. So, ito yung ayan, nakasulat naman dito na Rizal 25, June 1886. So, yan yung date nung umalis si Rizal sa sa bahay nila Pastor Ulmer. So, ito yung sinabi ko, ito lamang yung parang nasa libro. Tapos nais kong magbigay ng dagdag kaalaman. So, isa na yung kanina na kaya siya umalis ng Paris kasi nga hindi niya kayang sabayan yung pamumuhay doon kasi masyadong mahal. Tapos pagdating niya sa Heidelberg, sa University Town of Germany, February 3, 1886, matapos after passing by Strasbourg and another border town of Germany, yun, ito na nga yung kwento na nag-reside siya sa isang German boarding house at yung kaibigan niya is some German law students. Tapos dito sa Heidelberg, nagpakitang gilas si Rizal ang kanyang angking galing sa paglalaro ng chess. Tapos dahil sa galing niya sa chess, naging siya, board. Tapos dahil nga board student siya, nirecommend siya na isali sa mga larong chess habang umiinom. Umiinom sila, yung mga kasama niya doon sa boarding house. Tapos, after few days, Rizal decided to transfer to a boarding house close to university. So, sa University of Heidelberg naman, doon siya, malapit siya doon, sa may boarding house na malapit doon. Tapos doon naman siya nag-reside. And he was privileged to work at the eye hospital of the university, yung University of Heidelberg, under Dr. Otto Becker. It was at this university town where Rizal perfected the techniques of diagnosing eye ailments. So, dito niya na perfecto yung pagkakaalam o yung pagsusuri o pagdadiagnose ng kahit anong ailments sa mata. Tapos natutunan niya yun dahil kay Dr. Louis de Wecker. Tapos Rizal at Heidelberg. Ito, nasa Heidelberg. Ito yung dagdag kaalaman lang na si Rizal ay laging sumusulat sa kanyang kapatid na si Maria at Trinidad. Tapos Rizal described, during sa Heidelberg siya, nagsusulat siya para sa kanyang mga kapatid. Tapos Rizal describe in Germany yung mga tao doon na ang country nila ay may order and obedience. From the same correspondence to Rizal described the German student, yung mga nakasama niya sa boarding house malapit sa Heidelberg na affectionate, respectful, modest, and not boastful. Tapos, isa sa mga sinabi niya tungkol sa kababaihan na matatangkad ang mga babae doon sa Germany, stout and blonde. So, yung buhok nila, pag blonde, alam naman natin, hindi yan kulay itim. So, ayun lang karagdagang kaalaman na nais kong i-explain sa inyo. Tapos, bumalik na tayo sa libro. Yung kwento ko sa inyo, parang lang yun, much brief explanation ng buhay niya doon. Ay parang paano bang brief? Hindi pala brief. So, parang additive na lang yun, yung sinabi ko kanina. Kung ano yung mga iba niya pang buhay o mga na-experience niya doon sa Germany, bukod pa sa nakasaad sa libro. So, ayan na nga. Yung date dito na nakasulat, Rizal, 25 June 1886. Yan yung araw na umalis si Rizal sa tahanan ni Pastor Ulmer. Tapos, keep ang magagandang alaala ng pakikipagkaibigan at hospitalidad ng mga Ulmer. Ito yung sinabi niya na parang kaakibat to nung kanina na respectful, modest, and not boastful sila. So, dito mas specific yung sinabi ang mga Ulmer. So, yun yung naging kaibigan niya malapit sa may Heidelberg. Nang sumunod na araw, sinulatan niya si Pastor Ulmer para magpasalamat. Ito ang kanyang sinabi, muli ako'y lubos na nagpapasalamat sa inyo. Maaaring kapag kayo naman ang nag-ibang bayan, matitikman din ninyo ang ganitong pagtanggap at pakikipagkaibigan na siyang nadama ko sa inyo. At dahil ako'y dayuhan dito, wala akong magagawa para sa inyo sa isang dayuhang bansa. Ngunit tinitiyak ko ang aking serbisyo sa aking lupang tinubuan, kung saan lagi kayong makatatagpo ng isang tunay na kaibigan kung hindi ako mamamatay. Ang ligayang dulot ng pagkaunawa ng ibang tao ay mahalaga, kaya di ito bastang malilimutan. Naunawaan ninyo ako kahit na kayo manggi ang aking kulay na sa maraming tao'y dilaw na parang dahilan ng pagkalito ng isipan. So dito niya tinalaga na isa siyang mabuting kaibigan at naramdaman niya rin na lubusan siyang tinanggap ng mga Ulmer. At ito ang kanyang mga sinabi. Tapos, kinalaunan noong May 29 o Mayo 29, 1887, umulat ulit si Rizal mula sa Munich kay Frederick o yung anak ni Pastor Ulmer na si Fritz yung lalaki. Pakisabi sa iyong butihing Ginoong Pastor, ang minamahal mong ina at ang minamahal mong ina na kapag nakauwi ako'y susulatan ko siya. Hindi ko malilimutan kung gaano siya kabuti sa akin. Tulad din kung paano naging mabuti ang iyong ama sa akin, gayong isa akong estranghero. Walang kaibigan ni rekomendasyon, hindi ko malilimutan ang Wilhelmsfield sa mabuting pagtanggap ng kanyang parokya. So, ang buhay ni Rizal dito, sa kwentong to, sa topic na to, in-explain niya lang kung gaano siya kalubusang tinanggap ng mga pamilyang Ulmer sa loob ng pamilya, sa loob ng 3 buwan, dahil isa nga lamang siyang estranghero, ni kaibigan, walang nagrekomenda kung sino siya. Ayun lang. Salamat.
Good morning, everyone. I am Maria Eliza Dialagan. I'm from Group 5 and my topic is the first letter of Rizal for Blumentritt or ang unang liham ni Rizal para kay Blumentritt. So let's start. Who is Ferdinand Blumentritt? He's a professor, director of Ateneo Leitmeritz, Austria, and interested in Filipino dialect. So si Ferdinand Blumentritt daw ay isang profesor at direktor ng Ateneo Leitmeritz, Austria, at interesado siya sa ating Filipino dialect. So nung nalaman to ni Rizal na interesado daw si Ferdinand Blumentritt to our Filipino dialect, agad niya itong sinulatan at pinadalhan ng sulat para mas makilala. So, July 31, 1886, it is a date where Rizal wrote a letter for Blumentritt using the Aleman language. So, July 31 daw, 1886, date at taon kung saan nagsulat at nagpadala ng liham si Rizal kay Blumentritt na nakalimbag ng Aleman language. So, ano nga ba yung Aleman language? So, tandaan. Ang Aleman language or wikang Aleman ay ito isang Indo-European language na binabanggit ng isang populasyon na sa humigit kumulang 515 milyon tao sa Europa, Hilagang Amerika, Oceania at Timog Afrika. So, ang wikang Aleman na isinulat ni Rizal para kay Blumentritt ay ginagamit ng 515 milyon katao sa Europe, North America, Oceania at Timog Africa. So, I think this is a German language. So, ito yung mga German language, kumbaga. Yung Aleman language. So, dito isinulat ni Rizal using Aleman language yung liham niya para mas maintindihan ni Blumentritt. So, ano nga ba yung content or yung nilalaman ng sulat ni Rizal para kay Blumentritt? Ayan. Ang nilalaman ng sulat ni Rizal, it is translated in Tagalog para mas maintindihan kung ano yung sinulat ni Rizal para kay Blumentritt. Okay? Okay, babasahin ko. Sabi ni Rizal, napag-alaman kong pinag-aaralan mo ang aming wika at nakapaglathala ka na ng ilang gawa mo tungkol dito. Hayaan mo kung padalan ka ng isang mahalagang aklat sa aming wika na isinulat ng isa kong kababayan. Hindi kagandahan ang pagkakasulat ng bersyong Espanyol dahil ang author ay isa lamang hamak na manunulat. Ngunit ang bahaging Tagalog ay mahusay ang pagkakasulat. At ito mismo ang wikang sinasama namin sa aming lalawigan. So this letter, Rizal wrote this using the Aleman language. So tinranslate lang natin to ng Filipino para mas maintindihan natin kung ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng sulat ni Rizal. So sa unang bahagi, sinabi nalaman daw niya na pinag-aaralan daw ni Blumentritt yung wika natin. At nakapag-publish na din daw si Blumentritt ng mga works niya or mga literature at gawa niya tungkol sa wika. Kaya sabi ni Rizal, siguro mas naaliw si Rizal at naengganyo siya tungkol kay Blumentritt kung kaya't padadalhan niya si Blumentritt ng regalo at ito ay libro kung saan it is published in Spanish and Tagalog version. So, bibigyan daw ni Rizal si Blumentritt ng libro na nakasulat sa bersyong Espanyol at bersyong Tagalog. Sinabi din ni Rizal na hindi masyadong maganda ang bersyong Espanyol kasi ang sumulat nito ay hamak manunulat na Pilipino lamang. Very native Filipino ang sumulat ng librong ito. Ngunit daw ang bahaging Tagalog na siyang interesado si Blumentritt na malaman ay maganda ang pagkakahusay at mahusay ang pagkakasulat kung kaya't ay kailangan niya ito at mas maintindihan niya ang ating wika gamit ang librong ito. Okay? Ano nga ba ang librong sinasabi at ibibigay ni Rizal para kay Blumentritt? Okay. Arithmetica. Arithmetica, it is the title or the name of the book that Rizal's going to give to Blumentritt. Okay. A book where it is a Rizal's gift for Blumentritt. So, yon. Ito yung book na sinasabi ni Rizal sa kanyang para kay Blumentritt na kanyang ibibigay at it is published in Tagalog at Espanyol version. So, tama nga yung sinabi ni Rizal, meron to Espanyol at Tagalog version kung saan ang Espanyol ay hindi masyadong maganda ang pagkakasulat pero mahusay ang pagkakasulat sa Tagalog. Oh. Arithmetica yon, ha? Saan nga ba na-print o nalimbag ang Arithmetica? Oh, okay. It is printed at University of Santo Tomas during 1868. So nalimbag ang Arithmetica sa Universidad ng Santo Tomas taong 1868. University of Santo Tomas now is located at Espanya. Nakita natin. And this is the picture of the old UST noong kapanahunan pa. Sino nga ba ang sinasabi ni Rizal na manunulat na Pilipino na gumawa ng arithmetica? Atin ang malaman. Ang pangalan niya is Rufino Baltasar Hernandez. The author of the arithmetica book is Rufino Baltasar Hernandez, a native Filipino from Santa Cruz, Laguna. So, alayin nyo, isang manunulat na Pilipino ang sumulat at gumawa ng arithmetica na taga Santa Cruz, Laguna. Rufino Baltasar Hernandez ang sumulat ng librong ibibigay ni Rizal para kay Blumentritt. After nun, nag-start yung friendship ni Rizal at Blumentritt nung nagustuhan at nagandahan si Blumentritt sa pagkakasulat niya using the Aleman language at the Heidelberg. Nandun si Blumentritt. So, dahil nagustuhan ni Rizal ni Blumentritt ang pagkakasulat ni Rizal, Blumentritt also exchanged a book. So, nagbigay din ng book si Blumentritt para kay Rizal at doon na nag-start yung friendship nila kung saan they started to exchange letter na writing letter. Nagbibigay na sila ng message, nagsusulatan na sila. Sinusulat nila kung ano yung nangyari sa kanila at kung ano yung nangyari sa lugar ni Blumentritt at kung ano yung nangyari sa lugar ni Rizal. At doon natin malalaman kung ano ang journey ni at Rizal sa susunod nating kabanata. So that's it for my topic. Good day.
Good day everyone, I am Leandro Manlutak and I will be presenting the subtopics to the flower of Heidelberg and the 5th centenary of Heidelberg University. So, to the flowers of Heidelberg, or in Tagalog, para sa mga bulaklak ng Heidelberg. So, noong tagsibol ng 1886, Rizal was fascinated by the blooming flowers along the cool banks of the Neckar River. And kasama rito ang kanyang paboritong bulaklak which is the light blue forget-me-not. And dahil sa ganda ng bulaklak ng tagsibol ay pinapaalala nito kay Rizal ang kanilang marikit na hardin sa Calamba. And dahil sa pangungulila, on April 22, 1886, he wrote a fine poem entitled A Las Flores de Heidelberg, or in English, To the Flowers of Heidelberg. So, ito po yung nilalaman ng tulang isinulat ni Rizal. Humayo ka sa lupang tinubuan, hayo na dayong bulaklak, itinaninong malalakbay sa kanyang pagdaan, at doon sa silong ng maaliwalas na langit na bughaw, kung saan naroon ang aking pagmamahal, doon sasabihin ng pagod na pilgrimo, anong kanyang pananampalataya sa ating lupa. Humayo roon at ibalita kung paano inihahasik ng bukang liwayway ang kanyang liwanag, iyong mga talulot unang inihagi sa kaparangan, kanyang baka sa tabi ng malamig na Neckar, nagpapakita ng kanyang katahimikan sa kanyang piling, sa pagmumuni-muni ng kanyang tagsibol. Nakita kung paano ninakaw ang iyong bango, nang pumulandit ang liwanag ng umaga, bumubulong sa iyo ng kaligayahan, mapaglarong awitin ng pag-ibig. Siya rin bumubulong ng kanyang damdamin, sa dilang natutunan niya mula sa kapanganakan. Kaya nang sumabog ang gininto ang liwanag mula sa ngiti ng araw sa rurok ng Henningstool at sa kanyang papainit na liwanag, daloy ng buhay sa lambak at kahuyan at gubat. Binabati niya ang araw na iyon, dito'y pinupuri, na sa kanyang lupang tinubu ay umaapoy sa rurok. At ibabalita doon ang araw ng kanyang kinatatayuan, na malapit sa gumuhong abuhing kastilyo, sa may pangpang ng Neckar o mapanglaw na gubat. at pipitasin kayo sa may gilid ng landas habang pinupuri kayo ng manlalakbay. Masuyong inipit ang mabango niyong dahon sa mga pahina ng minamahal niyang aklat. Haddan ninyo o magagandang bulaklak, haddan ng pag-ibig ang lahat ng aking minamahal. Kaya kapayapaan sa aking bayan, masaganang bayan. Pananalig ng mga anak niyang lalaki panindigan, at birtud ng mga anak na babae ay pangalagaan. Minamahal na nila lang ay batiin, lahat ng nakalibot sa altar ng tahanan. At kapag naparoon ka sa dalampasigan, itong halik na ngayon idadampi ko sa iyo, dalhin sana ng mga pakpak ng hamog, ng lahat ng aking iginagalang, sinisinta, madama ang init ng aking halik ng pag-ibig kong taos. O mga bulaklak, kung maparoon sa lupaing yon, at naway taglay mo pa rin ang iyong mga kulay. Dahil malayo sa lupang nagbigay sa iyo ng buhay. Dito may masasamyo ang iyong bango, iyong kaluluwang di susuko, di lilisan. Ang liwanag na sumilay sa iyo mula nang ikay isilang. So, ginamit ni Rizal yung bulaklak ng Heidelberg bilang simbolo ng kanyang pagmamahal sa lupang sinilangan. So, yung kagandahan ng mga bulaklak ay naikukumpara sa kung paano niya tignan ng ating bansa na kung sino mang makakita rin nito ay mararamdaman ng pagpapaalala at pagmamahal ni Rizal sa Pilipinas. So, ang halimuyak naman ng mga bulaklak ay sumisimbolo sa mga adhikain niya para sa bansa. Pinapakita niya ang kanyang katayuan bilang dayuhan sa ibang bansa na kahit ang kanyang anyo o katawan ay nabubuhay dito, ang kanyang kaluluwa o pagkatao ay nakatanim sa kanyang inang bayan, ang Pilipinas. Gaya ng mga bulaklak na may iiwan ng bango at halimuyak nito sa lupang kanyang tinubuan. So next subtopic is the 5th centenary of Heidelberg University, or in Tagalog, ika-500 taon ng Universidad ng Heidelberg. So, Rizal was fortunate to be sojourning in Heidelberg when the famous University of Heidelberg held its 5th centenary on August 6, 1886. So, nataon yung pagbabakasyon ni Rizal sa Heidelberg sa celebration ng ika-500 taon ng Heidelberg University. And that's 3 days bago siya umalis. At nalulungkot siya dahil natutunan niya ng mahalin ang lungsod at ang mga mababait na tao na taga rito. And on his diary dated August 6, 1886, Rizal described the celebration of the 5th centenary of the famous University of Heidelberg. So, ito po yung sinulat ni Rizal sa kanyang diary. For its 5th centenary, the famous University of Heidelberg celebrated its festong this morning, and we attended. I like the picture better than the original itself. There were, however, many elegant and brilliant costumes. Bugmüller, the famous student of Heidelberg, was dressed as Frederick the Victorious, Liebermann as a gentleman of the 17th century, Gregor, Wolf of Schwachen, etc. Last night was Slorstfest. When will these gaieties enjoyed in this poetic and beautiful city come back? When will the foreigners return there? When shall I return after I shall have left? Inquire the fate of the molecules of water that the sun evaporates. Some fall as dew on the bosses of the flowers. Others are converted to ice and snow. Others into mud or swamp or torrential cascade. They are not lost but continue to live in nature. Will my soul have the fate of water, never being lost into nothingness? So, ito po yung pagkakalarawan ni Rizal sa kanyang tala-arawan patungkol sa selebrasyon ng ika-500 taon ng kilalang Universidad ng Heidelberg. So, that's the end of my presentation, and thank you. Now, let's move on the next presenter.
Hi everyone, this is Daniel and I'm going to report about Rizal in Leipzig and Dresden. So after attending the 5th centenary foundation day of the University of Heidelberg, Rizal visited other cities in Germany. So he first went to Leipzig and then transferred to Dresden. On August 4, 1886, on board a train Rizal went to Leipzig and he attended some lectures at the University of Leipzig given by German professors in history and psychology. As you can see here in the upper right corner, this is the picture of University of Leipzig back in 1886, and after years it got renovated and there were lots of changes happened. So in the mid lower part of this slide, this is now the University of Leipzig nowadays. It is made of racks and full of glasses. And in this part, in the lower left corner, this is the Leipzig city. It has the same establishments just like the common establishments in other European countries. They have common exterior designs. And then Rizal also met Professor Friedrich Ratzel. It was in the University of Heidelberg where Rizal came to know him. He was a professor. Professor Ratzel was born in 1844 and died in 1904. He was well known. He was a well-known German historian, and Rizal started to befriend with him. Aside from Professor Ratzel, Rizal also met Dr. Hans Mayer, who was born in 1858 and died in 1929. He was a famous German anthropologist, and Rizal also befriended him. During his stay in Leipzig, Rizal was able to translate Schiller's William Tell from German to Filipino language. Rizal's objective was to let Filipino read and understand the story of Schiller's William Tell. So it is all about the story of the champion of Swiss independence. And he also translated the fairy tales written by Hans Christian Andersen for the benefit of his young nieces and nephews in the Philippines. So the Tagalog version of this book was dedicated to his nephews and Philippines, and this is a copy of the book. So upon researching it, this features fairy tales by Hans Christian Andersen in English and translated into Tagalog by Dr. Jose Rizal. So it is available also in Shopee if you'd like to purchase. So basically, it is a copy of Rizal's work. Then, because of his knowledge on German, Spanish, and other European languages, he worked as a proofreader in publisher's firm. Through that, he was able to earn some money, and Rizal found out that the cost of living in Leipzig was the cheapest in Europe, so he stayed there for 2.5 months. And during his stay there, he also corrected some of the chapters of his second novel and performed his daily physical exercise at the city gymnasium. So Rizal's second novel was El Filibusterismo. So he revised some chapters there during his stay in Leipzig, and then on October 29, 1866, um, he went to Dresden where he met Dr. Adolf Meyer, the director of the Anthropological and Ethnological Museum of the city. So this was Dr. Meyer, and this is the picture of Dresden Museum Ethnology. So Rizal met Dr. Meyer here in this museum, and after 3 days he left Dresden. So basically he only stayed there for 3 days, and he quickly left and went to Berlin by a train. So this is the picture of Berlin, one of the cities in Germany.
Good morning, teacher. Good morning, classmates. Ang susunod po na tatalakayin natin sa paglalakay ni Rizal ay ang kanyang pagtanggap o tinanggap si Rizal ng Sirkulo Scientifico ng Berlin. Brief overview tungkol dito. Tinanggap si Rizal ng iba't ibang scientifico, mga organisasyon, at siya ay nahalina sa lugar na ito dahil dito ay maunlad ang larangan ng siyensya at walang panlalait sa lahi. So, dito, nahalina si Rizal dahil na maunlad yung larangan ng siyensya o kumbaga advance yung kanilang pag-aaral pagdating sa scientificong pag-aaral. At isa pa dito ay walang panlalait o mainit na tinatanggap ang mga dayuhan dito at walang diskriminasyon sa mga dayuhan sa Germany. So, ang susunod naman is yung tinulungan siya ng kanyang kaibigan na si Maximo Viola. Ang tungkol naman kay Maximo Viola, siya ay isang propagandist, writer, revolutionary leader, and doctor sa Bulacan, Philippines. Naging best friend ni Jose Rizal ito sa Europe at nag-work sila together. Sorry. Bumisita sila sa mga museum, art gallery, restaurants at nagstay sa hotel para magtrabaho sa Europe. Sabi rin dito, he led a fight against the Spaniards with his two brothers and stayed at Biak na Bato, and he was one of the leaders of the propaganda movement. Nakita ni Viola si Rizal sa Barcelona, Spain at sila ay na-involved sa propaganda movement at si Viola naman ay nag-travel across the Europe, particularly sa Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Switzerland. Yun nga, simula tayo. Ang sumunod naman is natapos ni Rizal ang kanyang nobelang No Limit Tangere noong 21 ng Pebrero 1887 at ito ay naipinta noong 21 ng Marso 1887. Sa tulong din ni Viola, he financed No Limit Tangere ni Rizal. Siya yung nag-finance para maiprinta yung kanyang nobela. Ang sumunod naman is pinaghinalaan si Rizal bilang isang espiya ng mga Pranses. Tapos, natapos niya maiprinta ang nobela, nagplano si Rizal na bisitahin ang mga mahalagang lugar sa Europe o sa Europa. Excuse. Tapos, nagsimula ang kanilang paglalakbay ni Dr. Maximo Viola at sila ay nagtungo sa Dresden. Excuse. Sunod naman ay nung nagpunta si Rizal or nung pag-arrive ni Rizal sa Berlin, sa pag-introduction or pag-introduce ng kanyang Austrian friend na si Ferdinand Blumenfeld, si Rizal ay acquainted or naging nakasama or naging kasamahan niya sina Dr. Rudolf Virchow, Theodor Jagor, Wilhelm Joes at iba pa. Lahat sila naging nakilala rin sila dahil sa libro nila or sa mga kanilang author sa tungkol sa Pilipinas. isa rin dito, nung bata pa daw si Rizal, binasa ni Rizal yung prophetic book concerning Jaguar's travels to the archipelago. Pakita ko lang yung ayan, si Dr. Andreas Feder Jagor, or mas kilala bilang Dr. Feder Jagor, isa siyang siya ay bantog na manlalakbay at siyentipikong Aleman, at siya ay naging author ng Pilipinas. Ay, sorry po. Siya yung naging author ng Travels in the Philippines. Sumunod naman, si Dr. Rudolf Ludwig Karl Virchow, or mas kilala sa pangalang Dr. Rudolf Virchow. Siya ay bantog na alemang anthropologista or anthropologist. Tungkol naman kay Dr. Virchow, he was not only a medical doctor in forensic biology. He founded the famous Moabit Hospital in Berlin. But siya ay naging isang Catholic political activist at naging member ng Reichstag. Sumunod ay si Dr. Hans Virchow. Siya ay isang anak ni Rudolf Virchow, at ito ay isang professor ng panlarawang anatomiya. Sumunod naman ay si Dr. Wilhelm Doewes. Siya ay isang kilalang Alemang hierarcho or isang geographer. Sumunod si Dr. Karl Ernst Theodor Schweiger. Siya ay isang bantog na Alemang ophthalmologista or isang ophthalmologist. So, yan yung mga nakasalumuha ni Rizal sa kanyang paglalakbay or sa topic natin na tinanggap siya sa sirkulo ng siyentipiko ng Berlin. At ano ko nga po pala, curriculum po, ang pronunciation ng last name ni Dr. Karl is Schweiger. Yan. Yun lang po. Dr. Karl Ernst Theodor Schweiger. So, yun lamang po sa aking topic na tinanggap si Rizal ng sirkulo siyentipiko ng Berlin. Ang susunod naman na tatalakayin ay ang naging buhay ni Rizal sa Berlin, kung saan kung paano niya isulat din yung No Limit Tangere or natapos, at yung mga naging challenges niya dito. Patatalakay din po yan ni Miss Villarias. So, yun lamang po. Maraming salamat.
Good day, I'm Maria Eugenia Q. Villarias, and I'm going to report about Rizal's life in Berlin. In Berlin, Rizal was not a mere student or a curious tourist. He lived in this famous capital of unified Germany for 5 reasons. The first one is to gain further knowledge of ophthalmology. Rizal went to Paris and Germany in order to specialize in ophthalmology. So we all know that Rizal particularly chose this branch because he wanted to cure his mother's eye ailment. Rizal also served as assistant to famous oculists of Europe. The second one is to further his studies of sciences and languages. So, ilan sa mga pinapractice ni Rizal na language noon ay German, French, at Italian. The third one is to observe the economic and political conditions of the German nation. Next one is to associate with famous German scientists and scholars. So in Berlin, Rizal met and befriended several top German scientists. So kanina, diniscuss na yung mga nakilala ni Rizal sa Berlin na sina Dr. Fyodor Jagor, Dr. Adolf B. Meyer, Dr. Hans Meyer, and Dr. Rudolf Virchow. And lastly, to publish his novel, Noli Me Tangere. So dito, hindi naging madali ang pag-publish ng first novel ni Rizal na Noli Me Tangere noong March 1887. So sa kalagitnaan ng paghihirap ni Rizal sa Berlin, nakatanggap siya ng mensahe mula sa kanyang kaibigan na si Dr. Maximo Viola na pupunta itong Berlin. So si Dr. Viola ay galing sa mayamang pamilya sa San Miguel, Bulacan. Nang makarating sa Berlin si Dr. Maximo Viola, ay nagulat siya nang makita niya si Rizal na naghihirap at halos magkasakit na dahil kulang sa tamang nutrisyon. So si Dr. Viola ang tumulong kay Rizal upang i-publish ang Noli Me Tangere. So pinahiram niya si Rizal ng pera upang may publish ang novel at para sa living expenses ni Dr. Jose Rizal. So ito yung modernized na building na dating tinirahan ni Rizal sa Berlin. Tapos ito naman yung marker. So makikita to ngayon itong marker ni Dr. Jose Rizal dun sa building. And next one, ito naman yung mga famous German scientists and scholars met by Rizal. So ito si Dr. Fyodor Jagor, Dr. Adolf B. Meyer, Dr. Hans Meyer, and Dr. Rudolf Virchow. Tapos, ito naman yung kaibigan ni Rizal na si Dr. Maximo Viola. And ito yung Noli Me Tangere. So, pinablish itong Noli Me Tangere dun sa Berliner Buchjockey Action Gesellschaft. So, dito niya napiling i-publish yung Noli Me Tangere dahil ito yung nag-offer ng pinakamababa yung price dahil 300 pesos for 2,000 copies ng kanyang novel. Tapos, Rizal led a methodical and frugal life in Berlin. So, matipid at masinop si Rizal noong nasa Berlin siya. So, by day, he worked as an assistant in the clinic of Dr. Schweiger, an eminent German ophthalmologist, and at night, he attended lectures in the University of Berlin. So, ito si Dr. Karl Ernest Schweiger. So, at his boarding house, he kept himself in physical trim by daily exercises and practiced speaking German, French, and Italian. So he wanted to master French so that he may be able to write it as well as in Spanish. So he took private lessons under a professor of French, Madame Lucie Serdol, in order to master the idiomatic intricacies of the French language. And aside from perfecting his academic studies, he performed daily exercises in a Berlin gymnasium to develop his body. So, how Rizal spent his leisure moments. So, Dr. Jose Rizal spent his free time touring the countrysides around Berlin, observing keenly the customs, dresses, homes, and occupations of the peasants. So he also made sketches of the things he saw, and lastly, he enjoyed promenading along Unter den Linden, which is the most popular boulevard of Berlin, sipping beer in the cities and talking with the friendly Berliners. So ito yung picture ng Unter den Linden, the most popular boulevard in Berlin. And that's all for my presentation about Rizal's life in Berlin. Thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. I am Felix Kenji F. Choak. Today, reporting about Rizal on German women, German customs, and Rizal's darkest winter. Pananaw ni Rizal sa kababaihang Aleman. Rizal on German women. Fun fact, a German accent would sound like this. The W and V are the same, and they often change the TH with a Z. So it would sound like this. If in German womanhood, Rizal on German women, one of his important letters written while he was in German was addressed to his sister Trinidad. Rizal praised and admired the German womanhood. Rizal said to his sister that the German women are serious, diligent, educated, and friendly. He also said that they are not particular with how they dress nor how expensive their jewelries are, unlike the Spanish women who are gossipy, frivolous, and quarrelsome. Rizal also thought about the women in the Philippines. Although they have their good qualities, but they are more interested in how they dress and not about what they know. He also exclaims that if only, especially those in the provinces, would build their intellect, they could command the respect of all men. He also exclaimed and told his sister that now that you are still young, you should strive to read and learn. You must not allow yourself to be cornered and conquered by the indolence because it costs so little to cast it off. Heading over to German custom, mga kaugalihan ng mga Aleman, in the Christmas season, the Germans in their Yuletide would make something of somewhat a Christmas tree that they would call a Adventskranz. An Adventskranz in English would be a winter wreath. Winter wreath. On Christmas Eve, the people take from the bushes a pine tree, selecting one which must not only be straight but also must have leaves. So, dry leaves like pine, pins, and they decorate it with lanterns, papers, lights, dolls, and etc. So, they look like this around here. Yep, you see that? Um, they decorate it with candles, pines, the dry leaves. Heading over to the German code of etiquette. When a man attends a social gathering and he is not introduced by the host, one thing that he should do is bow his head to the guests and introduce himself to everyone. So here, bowed head to the guest, and introduced himself to everyone. Because according to the German code of etiquette, it is bad manners for a guest to remain aloof and wait for his host or hostess to make a proper introduction. And heading over to Rizal's Darkest Winter. Pinakamalungkot na taglamig ni Rizal. So, to not beat around the bush, it was because of poverty. The winter of 1886 in Berlin was his darkest winter, mostly because of poverty. He had no money to pay for his landlord. The diamond ring that his sister gave him was already in the pawn shop. He lived day by day with one meal a day. He ate bread and water and some cheap vegetable soup if he had a chance. His clothes were old and tattered, and it's like what a beggar would wear. He had no money to even go to clean his clothes, so he had to clean his own clothes. But somewhere in Calamba, Pasiano, his brother, tried to raise money because he knew that Rizal was going through hell right now. But the the time the time couldn't be better. This in this point of time, the crops it had failed due to a locust infection and the sugar market collapsed. Oh, the sugar market collapsed and that would mean nothing. He couldn't send even a single penny to Rizal. Meanwhile, Rizal was out there in Berlin shivering in the winter cold, afraid that he might get tuberculosis due to bad condition he is in. Never had he suffered such endearing circumstances. Once again, I am Felix Kenji F. Chak, reporting Rizal's Darkest Winters. Thank you.